It is the 14th of December, 10 days until we're all done. And it's time for, I'm getting lost here, it's time for the 14th entry in my 24 ghost stories for Christmas. Now, this one is fantastic. It's called A Warning to the Curious. It was released in 1972, and it's another entry in the BBC's classic 1970s series, A Ghost Story for Christmas, hence the name of my entire series. The story is once again an adaptation of an M.R. James story starring Peter Vaughan. It's the second entry in the BBC's Ghost Story for Christmas, and for many it is the best. I rank this up there with the original Whistle and I'll Come to You, which I've already talked about. A Warning to the Curious follows a man called Paxton who goes to this small seaside town in and around the Norfolk area, where he is trying to find a crown, one of the three crowns of Anglia. We're told that the story is that these three crowns of Anglia are somehow protected, and Paxton is an amateur archaeologist. We have the backdrop of most probably the 1930s depression, and this is a man who is in his later years but has fallen on hard times and really feels that through his hard work and his studious research into one of these crowns that he's going to find it, and it will bring him fame and fortune. And we really root for him because he's a really sympathetic character. We really want him to be successful. But the entire story starts off 12 years before Paxton arrives, and we see a man being killed who is trying to find the crown himself. He's killed by a man who seems to be following him around. Now, 12 years later, Paxton arrives, and as he's trying to find the crown, he starts to be followed by this undefined, blurred figure that seems to be chasing and following him everywhere. Now, it is, I think, probably one of the most chilling pieces of supernatural television there's ever been. There is a moment in a bedroom where, you know, you hear people talk about getting the chills. You know, this scene, the entire piece actually created that feeling of me watching it, and watching it again it's just as effective. And that's what's great. I mean, I talked about the lady in white previously, and how, you know, it didn't hold up as well to me now, as much as I still enjoyed it, but A Warning to the Curious most definitely does. It's a heartbreaking story. It has sentiment. It has it gets the audience to get absolutely grabbed by the story. You really feel for the characters, and that is probably what elevates it so high, is that we do really root for the main character, and there is a backstory and an arc, and we feel like we watched something. We feel like we've watched an entire film, when really it's just a short film. But it's wonderfully done, and the whole sort of academic, or in this case amateur archaeologist looking for an artifact which has something supernatural attached to it, is a theme which we see right throughout M.R. James' work. The story is very faithful actually to the original short story. It's more a case of they changed the lead character. The lead character's younger in the original story, but in this one he's older, which I actually think in many ways adds a poignancy to the story, which is perhaps missing from the original short story. I just said story about a million times there. Anyway, so that's A Warning to the Curious. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you can get a hold of it in DVD, please do. It is quite pricey, I think, because it was one of these limited releases, but it's, sorry, I'm sniffing, I've got a bit of the cold. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece of supernatural television, And I always rated Whistle and I'll Come to You as the best BBC adaptation of an M.R. James story, but I think this is right alongside it. It's wonderful. A point of interest: the following year, ITV, which was a different channel, tried to do a ghost story themselves, and who did they get to star in it but Peter Vaughan? It was called The Return, and The Return's actually, it's okay, it's quite decent, but it's not really terrifying, it's not really frightening, but if you can get, if you can have a look for The Return as well from 1973, it's definitely worth watch. It's only 30 minutes long, and Peter Vaughan's just such a great actor. But I would say if you can watch any of the ghost stories for Christmas, this is probably about as good a one to start with, because it is the most impressive in many ways. Certainly, in terms of being frightened, I think this one is right up there. So yeah, that's me done. I'm going to go away now, and I'm going to go to the GFT to watch my Christmas showing of It's a Wonderful Life with my girlfriend and my friend and his wife. So I'm probably going to do a video on that. Actually, I'm going to do a video on that, just letting you know. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all getting geared up for Christmas. I haven't got any of my shopping done yet. Nightmare. And I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.